Hey guys, welcome back to another video here at TrinFx. My name is Josh, aka the Holmes Fletcher, founder and owner of the TrinFx YouTube, Discord, and Instagram official page. And yeah, just another weekly analysis, and we're going to get straight into it. What I'm expecting coming up this week, and some things that we could look at in terms of the fundamentals, what we have coming up, as well as some trade setups that we could expect for the markets. I do think that coming up this week, we would have a really good week, right? So on the fundamental side of things, just to kick it off real quick, we do have a pretty heavy news week. All right, and I'm just gonna click it for next week here. So you can see we do have a lot of high impactful news. It's a very well filled week next week. And I'm pretty excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited to see what sort of trade setups that we can get from this week coming here. As well as I am doing a challenge, more on that later in the video. And yeah, it just provides a lot of possible opportunities that we could get into. So I'm really excited for what we have coming this week. So for Monday, and let's just take a quick look. For Monday, around 9:45 a.m., we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. All right, so this is an important number when it comes to for the indices. Some of you that are indices traders, you would be trading the S&P 500, US 30, NAS 100, and even the J30 index. This is something that you would be paying attention to, right? Or at least something that you should give some sort of attention towards, because these numbers would affect price action movement on those assets. All right. So starting off the week on Monday, we are pretty light in terms of news. So we just have some sentiment stuff from my FX book, and more so just the global S&P numbers here for Britain as well as the US. Also the Tuesday, so the Tuesday is when we're really getting into it. For Tuesday, we do have some RBA trade, meaning CPI data, right? So a lot of stuff for the AUD inflation rate as well. That's something we're paying attention to. Looking to come down here, right? So inflation is looking to come down, which generally is good for the economy. However, given the sort of context that we are currently in, if we do see inflation come down here at 6.2% or even lower, then we're going to see a turnaround on the AUD, right? Generally, inflation is given a bad view if it does come down, in terms of if we do have the economic release that inflation is coming down. However, for the economy itself, it is considered something good. All right. And it can be kind of confusing, especially if you're first time really understanding or implementing fundamentals. But basically, from the standpoint that we view inflation, and this is just like a little side note for you guys who are new to the fundamental analysis and to the channel, one reason why you will see the RBA or you'll see the Aussie dollar actually dwindle or go bearish off of the inflation news, right? And because what it usually means for the potential future, which is interest rate hiking. All right, so markets love interest rate. When interest rates go up, it's really good, and the markets just react in a positive way to that number or interest rate increase. So because we have a lower inflation number, it means that the likelihood that we're going to see interest rate rise also decreases, and that is what causes that bearish movement for the markets. All right. So we also have CPI data, something that we need to pay attention to as well. Look at this come out higher than the previous, right? So the consensus is higher. Given the current numbers that we do have, especially from the last set of numbers that we have for the AUD employment as well, they were positive. So let me just take a look at this week, because I believe it was this week that we had AUD news, right? So we employment change and unemployment rate, right? So unemployment has gone down, as well as employment change has increased. All right, compared to the consensus, we did come out a lot better than that, right? So with that being said, we can expect to see a high likelihood that CPI numbers are going to be positive, even higher than the current consensus. All right, but the likelihood of it being positive or more than the previous, it actually is, there's a higher probability of seeing that happen, right? So this is where we have the sort of mixed data coming here. All right, so we have CPI coming out and we have inflation coming out, right? Inflation is going to be lower, but CPI higher. So you might be asking, homie, which one do I pay attention to? Which one can I expect to have more of an impact on market movement? All right. And the thing is, both are leading indicators for what to expect from the RBA, which is the interest rate increase, or what they're going to do with the monetary policies. So with that being said, you can expect either one of two things to happen, right? Usually in such a case like this, we'll see price spike in favor of the AUD for a short period, and then you'll see a correction of that movement. And I'll show you guys what that looks like on the charts. But usually that is sort of the movements that you can get. Overall, right now though, something that you should take in consideration is the fact that the overall risk sentiment for the AUD and the NZD and general on the markets, it is really of a risk off sort of tone. So with that being said, I am expecting more of a bearish move overall from the AUD and the NZD respectively. All right, on Wednesday we also have Fed interest rates actually. So Wednesday is going to be a pretty hectic day as well. So we have Fed interest rate decision. We're going to see an increase of 25 base points. And we also have the Fed conference, right? So you can see that we have one at 14 and 14:30, right? So I believe that is around 2, right? So that's 2 and 2:30 p.m. that we do have these news coming out, these news event. Now the thing is, even though if interest rates do increase for the dollar, overall I am still dollar bearish, all right? And again, we'll take a look at that on the chart. So when numbers do come out for the interest rate decision for the US dollar, I'm expecting little to no reaction here, right? Because we had beforehand projections that we're going to see interest rate rise at least twice again for the year, right, from the US economy. And initially, at the point when we had those projections, we had the large move to the upside for the dollar, right? So this is basically like that move was already priced in from a market psychological standpoint. So therefore, coming into the actual news event itself, it should have lesser of an impact on the dollar, right? Now, I could be wrong, and this is not financial advice in any sort of way, but in terms of the market environment and sort of psychologically what we could expect from the markets, this does make more sense to actually see markets show little to no reaction from this. And overall, we are still dollar bearish with the recent economic numbers that did come out. It was sort of positive, but at the same time, we could expect to see some bearish movement, right? So with that being said, I am still dollar bearish. What I'll be paying attention to is more what is said at the Fed press conference, right? So what sort of news release we do get for the Fed press conference, and that is really going to impact market movement for the dollar, right? Whether it's positive or negative, we will have to wait to see. However, for me right now, I do think overall it's okay to maintain a dollar bearishness sort of standpoint, right? So that is sort of that's my current decision that I'm moving in with into the markets next week. Just looking for dollar shorts, right? And I'll show you guys in the chart just now how that will be interpreted with the DXY, the current level status as such. We also have on the Thursday, so pretty heavy news week. Thursday, 8:15 for the ECB. We do have interest rate decision, expecting to see an increase here as well. And again, we have some jobless claims numbers. So at 8:15, we have the ECB interest rate decision, and then at 8:30, we also have some USD news here again with initial jobless claims, looking at the July month. All right. And we're looking to see an increase here. So these are bad actually, right? So something like jobless claim numbers, once you do see the increase, so you see like the consensus is more than previous, that is usually viewed as negative. All right. So jobless claims, continuing jobless claims as well. We also have goods trade balance. We have GDP, price index, and GDP growth. So this is something that you need to pay attention to for the second quarter. We have GDP growth rate, and this is a very high impactful piece of news or economic number that would affect price action movement. All right. So what GDP stands for is the gross domestic product, and it usually calculates the growth or the rise in prices of different amount of different goods and services, right? So looking at the growth rate, we will be able to see, okay, how well the economy is currently performing and moving forward, what we could expect from the Fed, right? So the previous was 2%, and the consensus is less at 1.7%. So again, some more bearish factors for the US dollar. We also have the ECB Fed press conference. So this is something that we need to be paying attention to as well. And we also have retail sales numbers for the AUD. So something else that we need to be paying attention to for the AUD, right? So expecting an actual decrease in the numbers compared to the previous at negative 0.3%. So again, this is just kind of like reaffirming my current stance on the AUD, right? Again, with the risk sentiment, risk off tones, and the overall sort of bearishness that we're going to get, like expecting to see, especially retail sales number, looking at PPI as well, looking bearish as well. So all of this is going to contribute to that AUD bearishness and sort of standpoint that I do currently have. And it's just a matter of getting that technically aligned on the charts to kind of, be in confluence with your fundamental bias, right? And for the Japanese yen, we have the interest rate decision looking to remain the same. Alright, so I'm expecting little to no real reaction for the yen. Now this is like it can show or remain with no reaction, but from the standpoint that we did have from some of the yen, right, representatives, like I believe it's Kuda, I may be mispronouncing that, but he does have sort of the stance that we need to make some changes towards the yen itself for the near future, right? So sort of a bullish stance being taken by some of the representatives, but yet economically looking at the numbers that we are going to expect is remaining unchanged, which may be bad for the yen itself, right? So we'll have to just wait and see how that plays out. But either way, if it does go bad, or we see that the yen drops and sort of if we see the yen drops against any other cross currencies, especially something like AUD-JPY, I would be looking to go long for the yen. So basically selling AUD-JPY overall, right? I think that would be a good opportunity to do so. Right after that, we do have some more news on Friday. We have PCE, and we have personal income and spending, right? So a lot of news Friday as well, but I think the most I'll be paying attention to probably is GDP for the CAD, and that's it, right? All of this it says high important news, high impact news, but it's not really going to translate on the charts itself. So that's it in terms of fundamentals that we do have for the continuation of this week coming here. All right, and the reason why I didn't look at all of this here, even though it shows high impact, is because this here is dealing with parts of the euro area, right? So Germany, and that's Germany and Spain, right? So that's parts of the euro area and not the entire of the European Union, which would have been this here that you see in this sort of flag here, right? So this euro area thing, this has more of a movement on price, or more of a reaction on price, rather than the individual economies themselves, right? Now, coming to technical levels and technical analysis of things, some expectancy that we can get, all right? So taking a look at the AUD CAD, I want to look at AUD CAD and AUD USD, right? So let's start with AUD USD, and I'll be moving to the DXY afterwards. So AUD USD overall, we can see price is gradually climbing up here from daily, right? So price gradually climbing up. Now currently where we are at on a daily, and this is something important I think we should know, is that we have a pullback, right, on the US dollar, right? So US dollar has pulled back here, back into these levels, right around here. Now the thing is, I am dollar bearish, and I am, in terms of risk sentiment overall, AUD is bearish. However, given the fact that the dollar is more heavily in focus and that markets react more volatile to dollar news, I do think that we have an opportunity to actually see price rise, given that, okay, we reach into this level here, it acts as a support level, and we can see price continue even higher, right? Rising maybe all the way back up into this significant daily high, right? And this would be like my overall max target, and you can call this sort of a swing trade, all right? So I'm not expecting the move to happen immediately. Maybe from Wednesday we would have the total move being made, but I'd like to see a deeper retest first, and then enter after we see some sort of rejection for price to continue moving higher. Or if we see price come into this level here, right, we see it start pushing back up into this level. This is an area of support for me to take a look from the 1 hour. Right, so you can see this was the area price reached into, rejected, and pulled higher from there. Right, then we had this nice bearish pull back down after this level, and price continued down a little bit. Right, so if we see price reach back into this level here, I would look to actually take it to go long, targeting all the way the extreme side here. Right, this will be like the first target, and this will be the second target, the extreme high. But that's basically what I'll be looking at for the AUD-USD. Alright, and we have some news that could act as a catalyst for that. Right, so again, taking a look at the start of the week. Right, for Tuesday, right, we have some news that could potentially help price push forward. Right, again, with the weaker dollar being sort of the movement that we have been seeing currently, I do think that there's a higher probability to see this rise higher. Right, and some other things that we could look at, an instance, instead of you don't want to trade AUD-USD because we might not get the clear set of move. Something like EUR-USD is something as well that may provide better opportunities, because you have interest rates increasing for the euro dollar, as well as already the bearish USD news acting on that currency. Right, so in terms of the correlation or the difference between currency strength, there's a clearer right, distinguishing between the euro dollar and the US dollar. Right, so because there's a clear difference between the two, the currency strength, you could say that there's a higher probability of seeing this move more clearly or more cleanly than the chart that we were looking at previously, AUD-USD. But the two is something that I'll take into consideration, right? So AUD-USD, EUR-USD, that is something that I'll be paying attention to. I'm really trying to minimize the amount of trades I am going to get myself involved in, just because overall you want to be more prudent when it comes to your trading strategy and currencies that you are watching, especially if you're using a live account or funded account. You need to take these things into consideration, because when you do go live or you do get your funded account, you can't just be trading every single setup you do see. You have to pick the quality ones, the ones with the better quality, better probability of playing out, rather than every single trade. All right, and one of the ways that you could do that is by using fundamentals to distinguish the currency difference in terms of strength and their correlation with each other. All right, so AUD-USD and your USD, those are the two things that I'm looking at. Now, to take a quick look at the DXY, right, and this is the lovely thing about the DXY currently right now, and I gotta say, this is probably like one of the cleanest movements made on price for the year thus far. The DXY current movement, just one of the cleanest. Now, looking here at the daily, right, and we're going to do a top-down analysis from daily to the 1 hour. Right, looking here at the daily, we can see that, all right, price for the past recent days or months or whatever you want to say, right, we've seen price gradually fall, right, continuously did that. And this is off of bearish sentiment, bearish news and stuff. And we had price kind of dancing around this 100 area, right around this area here. We had price dancing around this area before the ending of last week. We had this significant pullback here, right, on the last 2 days, well, last 3 days to be more approximate. So Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, right? So looking here from the daily, we come into this significant level here. You'll see that price rejected from this level multiple times, pulled away from it, finally got that break, and now we have that retest. Now, this is like one of the cleanest technical sort of setups that you could ask for, right? Looking here at the 4 hour, and then we'll go to the 1 hourly. All right, price came into this area here. This is on a large movement down. All right. Now, at this point, we could expect to see price act accordingly and pull away from this level, right? Continuing back down to these lows, because currently there's no real reason to be bullish for the US dollar. Overall, the economy is performing okay. All right, the economy has been doing a lot better than a lot of the other economies out there for the USD. However, given the most recent amount of fundamental news that we do have, we've been seeing that dollar bearishness keep on persisting, and something you don't want to do is fight the trend. Now, the only reason why I would actually start going long dollar is if we see some sort of agreement to see price start pulling back up continuously. Now, this is my first level to see price reject from and continue moving downwards. All right, so this is the first level that we're looking at. Second level is if price manages to pull higher. We want to see what sort of interaction we get at this level here, right? Because this will be my secondary level to see price react and pull away from to continue moving downwards, right? So this is sort of the expectancy. First movement from here. Overall, on the daily and hourly, this is the significant resistance zone or support turn resistance. However, if we do manage to see the dollar pull back again because of whatever reason, maybe we just have volatility and the volume just directing the market into that direction, we see that. I want to see what sort of interaction we do get at this next level for price to continue moving back down. All right. But overall, dollar bearishness, that is the continuing theme thus far until shown otherwise. All right. So again, with that, looking at Euro USD and AUD-USD, we have these significant levels that we can pay attention to within the overall uptrend that we have been seeing, and looking for price to actually continue with that downtrending movement. All right. So that's basically the sort of theme that we're working with right now. Continuing on, anything else I'm paying attention to? One trade I was looking at is GPCHF. Now, like I said, I'm being more conservative with the trade setups that I'm entering. All right, guys. So have some patience with me. I'm looking at this week, what we have upcoming. I don't want to be too hasty with my trading decisions just because overall we have some good setups, right? Some good things lining up. So you don't want to rush the markets or feel like let FOMO kick in that you are missing out on trades or trade setups or anything like that. Especially when you see like movements like these, it might play out at some point. You might see this actually rise all the way up here. As one move that we could get from the GBP, but you need to use what you have at the advantage. And my strategy, that's using fundamentals with some technical aspects as well, that could allow price to play within our favor, right? So other than that, the only other thing I'm watching is possibly GJ. So this was one trade that we did have for the GBP JPY. Price came down here, was pretty nice. Ended up getting a loss too, because at this point here, I wanted to see the pullback and price continue moving down. This was on market closing the Friday, right? Friday's market, and this is something that you could usually see during that time, right? Low volume, you usually see price reversal and stuff like that from GJ. It's annoying, but it happens. But we were able to get some sort of profit off of this. Now, continuing this week, I want to say, all right, looking at the 4-hour and the daily, let's take a look at the daily first. Overall price has been pretty strong. This candle closed really nice to the upside here, right? After this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of price just, gradually moving into this zone. On this one day, we went from down here all the way back up here, right? So overall, pretty nice, solid bullish movement. Coming to this week, let me just remove the drawings. Coming into this week, I think what I want to see, all right, being real conservative for price continuations, let price push past this level up here. All right, looking at the 1 hour, where we currently at, I think this would be a trade that I would take coming at the starting of the week actually. Right, where price is currently at, I do think that we could get a continuation moving higher. Right, providing that, all right, nothing essentially changes for the England for the pound itself, and we maintain the sort of JPY movement that we have been seeing, right? So with that being said, I just think that this looks like a good trade setup for me, right? And this is something I'll take note as to possibly enter. Other than that, not much else to be said. NZD CAD, NZD CHF, these type of things, again, risk sentiment, mood, is off, very to the downside. So with that being said, usually what I want to see is continuing movement, see downside. Now dollar weakness and NZD AUD weakness, sentiments off. I don't know. We could get a continuation, but I would like to take something with more of a clearer bias on either side, right? So we might see some pullbacks here for the NZD and the AUD with that dollar weakness, but I don't want to be like too overly eager to enter anything. So this is a possible setup. What make me take this is if we see price rise above this area here, we could get a continuation movement up here, right? And even a continuing movement even higher. So this is something I would take, provided we see price pull past this area here first. And just, yeah, I think we could just continue to the highs. This would be like my target over here. But yeah, that would be like the trade setup from here right there. Other than that, not much else to be said. Gold, upward movements again with US dollar weakness. We'll just have to wait and see if we're able to get that. The last trades that we took from the VIP, this was one right here. Ended up the week pretty nicely with this. Euro AUD price moved up, took it right into this area. And just show you guys I'm not capping. Because a lot of you guys be thinking I'm capping. I don't know why. Why would you think I'm capping? I have no reason to do that. So yeah, look at here, Euro AUD. So we took it. TP was open. Same sort of levels. You can see entry and stops right here. And you can see that is what we got, right? So entry stops remain the same. Price pulled up pretty nicely. Got a nice little profit right there. And NZD CHF, sorry, NZD JPY. Alright, this was another trade, came out at a 1 to 2.4% for myself. But you can see this is where we entered right there. TP was open, risk 2%. So came out with around 4.8% or something like that, close to 5.6. And yeah, you can see that, yeah, that 2% risk just carried us all the way out there. The PCHF was like the same idea, but this ended up closing out a loss here. Alright, so that was how we ended the week pretty nicely. Overall, we had a good week, but it could have been better, right? Because we did encounter some back and forth price action movements, and yeah, some break even, some stop losses and stuff as usual in the markets. But it is part of the game, so that's why we're here as well, to improve and, you know, look back at those losses and learn what we could have done better, what I could have done better, and just make myself a better trader. But overall was pretty good, and yeah, we were able to safely make a profit for that week. Alright guys, so that's it for me. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining, and just, you know, hopefully you got some information out of this. If you feel a little bit even smarter, or you think that you learned something new, then feel free to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and leave a like as well. Help the YouTube algorithm, help this video push it out and reach more people, like-minded fellows like you and I, who just want to learn more about the market or get a different perspective and point of view of things, right guys? So that's it. I'll see you guys Monday morning at 5 a.m. for the London session. If you are watching this video and you made it all the way to the end here, yeah, leave me a comment, right, about what trade setups you are looking at, what pairs you are looking at, what do you trade mostly, and what kind of strategy you use. Are you like a SMC strategy type of person? Are you using ICT concepts? A lot of people are in ICT space. I'm not even going to talk about it. Not my business. If it works for you, it works for you. Are you using like Bollinger Bands, using some sort of indicators? What is that you guys do the trade? Are you just like risking it and just taking buy sells, just doing any mini money more, or whatever the case is, right? So yeah, that's it for now guys. Thank you very much. See you guys Monday. Peace.